Hello, everyone. This is Becky DeGrossa with CounselingWise.com, and today we are going to talk about website platforms, website solutions, how to make choices for those things. So before I dive in and get started here, I want to just do a little check here to make sure that you can, in fact, see the charts that are up on the screen there and that you can hear my voice. And so I'm going to get confirmation on that from you all. I know there's a little delay with Google Hangouts here, and so I want to make sure it's working before I dive in. All right, confirmation. We can see and hear you. Awesome. Good deal. Okay, well then I'm going to start going through this. Little warning, I'm kind of in rare form this morning. So be prepared. Hopefully you're awake and I'm not going to be the one to wake you up here. Okay. All right. So the point of today's webinar is really to provide you with knowledge about marketing your practice online. Okay. That's really what it's about. Now, what we do, we're kind of in the, in the center of this, talking to tons of therapists every week. And with that being the case, we know that it's hard out there, right? We know that there's a lot of folks who are struggling. They're not able to build their practice very fast, or there's a lot of folks who have been in practice for a long time and have pretty much ignored the whole technology world, the whole online marketing thing. And now they are kind of hurting, okay? Or they just put up a site. It used to work before it got really competitive, and now it doesn't work anymore. And so their practice is declining quickly. And that is a very tough thing, okay? It's a very tough thing to see on my end. So what I really want is for you to be successful as a therapist and to be able to stay in the field, okay? That's what this is all about here. So the other thing that I want to do is, once I talk about all of these things, I want to be able to answer any questions that you have so that you really understand at the end of this how to evaluate anything that you're looking at, okay? Any solution, whether it's a website platform, a website provider, whatever, a full end-to-end solution. I want you to know how to evaluate whether that is really going to work for you. Okay, that's what this is about here. And then, of course, the other thing is we will let you know how we can help if you need help. If you don't need help, great, power to you, okay? There are plenty of people who have been on our webinars and, got information off our website and maybe got a little guidance from us on how to write or something like that. And they've been able to put up some beautiful, highly functional websites. Okay, that's not for everybody. There's a lot of folks who really don't want to do all that. It's going to take them forever. So for those that don't want to do that, we can help. And if you do want to do that yourself, there's all the information you need that is available with Counseling Wise for free in order to pull that off. Okay. All right. So why am I so passionate about this? And I'm probably gonna be a little, I don't know. Well, I'll try to behave myself, but I am very passionate about this because I see these huge mistakes all the time, okay? Now, last year we analyzed 93 therapists' websites. There were major weaknesses that stood out. And we just keep seeing these over and over again, and it's like crazy making, okay? It's crazy making. We've been educating people via these free webinars for so long, and we just keep seeing the same things. And so it's really frustrating. So if I get a little ranty here today, then that's why, okay? There's a huge lack of understanding about what drives success online. And it's not something that's pretty, okay? That's not it. There's more to being pretty, more than being pretty to make it work. So there's just this huge lack of understanding about what drives success. And consequently, there are a lot of therapists that just are not making it. And it's just hard to watch, okay? So I guess, hats off to you that you're here. Probably a lot of you have been on webinars before with Counseling Wise. And so, we usually have a lot of repeat people because because they end up learning a lot. So hats off to you that you're here trying to learn and figure out this quagmire that you've entered into. You know, a lot of therapists, of course, decided to be therapists so they didn't have to go into business, right? They like sitting there and talking to people and connecting and relating better than they like doing business. But unfortunately, if you are in private practice, you are in business. And so there's a certain amount of things that you need to learn in order to be successful and to be able to stay in your therapist seat. Okay, so don't fall into this trap, okay? If you don't have a website, you know you need one. If you have a terrible one, you know you need a new one. But you don't really know how you should be evaluating the solutions that are out there, okay? And they are tantalizing. There's a bunch of solutions out there. They're cheap, they're easy, they really market well, and they know how to appeal to what they know you want, which is, I want something that looks nice and is really cheap and easy. Okay, that's typically what the uneducated person is looking for. And so they find these solutions and they look like a dream come true and they jump on that bandwagon. Okay, the problem is there's more to it than that. Okay, so you go for it. You don't really know what you should be looking for. You grab that solution, and then down the road you're not getting the results you want. Your business is declining or not growing, and you're going, what happened? I listened to these guys. I followed their advice, and you don't understand what happened. Okay, so I am going to back up a little bit. The title of the webinar here is you know, why WordPress or Squarespace are your best choices for your website. Now, a little, you know, disclaimer. I do believe that. I do believe that WordPress and Squarespace are the best choices. But what I'm going to be talking about today is much bigger than that. I basically used that title just to get you here. Okay, I'm just going to, you know, own up to it. That's what I that's what I used to get you here, and it's a much bigger topic than that. What I want you to learn is a lot more than that. Okay, what I said that you would learn is the 3 most important criteria to use in choosing a platform, biggest traps to avoid, what you must do on your site no matter what, you know, solution, platform, whatever that you choose, which therapists really need to be concerned about these things and who can ignore them, basically, and most important part of your website to focus on. So I am, in fact, going to cover all those things. But again, I don't want you to say, okay, here's the 3 most important things, and I'm writing them down. Check, got that. Okay, biggest traps to avoid, you know, write that down, check. And then, and whatever, right? This whole thing. And then just, you know, stick that somewhere and lose it and go about your way and then go find a cheap and easy solution, because you've missed the point if you do that. Okay, so in fact, I'm going to cover these things, but I hope to do it in such a way that you really get what I'm talking about and that you are much more knowledgeable at the end of this so that you know how to evaluate what you need to be doing out there. All right, so here's the first 3 things. Here they are. What matters today online? Visibility, okay? Visibility is extremely important. It is getting harder and harder to be found online by your potential clients, and you've got to pay attention to this. This is going to make or break you, okay? And so to just look very shallowly at solutions you see out there, oh, this is nice enough, and these people are so nice, and they do this site for me, and it only cost me $59 a month. You need to be looking a little deeper than that, okay? So no names in that little example there, but look at visibility, and I'm going to go into what these things are in more detail, okay? Content. The one thing that matters most today is content. It's getting more and more and more important. It used to be that you could put up a simple little site that was 5 short pages and you could get visibility because no one else had a website. And so you would get visitors and they would say, well, that looks like a nice person and that office looks nice and comforting. I think I'll go see them. No longer, okay? You are not going to be found unless you have very good, rich, plentiful content. And I'll talk a lot more about what that means in a second, and hopefully that will make sense to you. I don't mean thin, vague content. A lot of sites will have, you know, a little, I'm a therapist and I trained here and I've been practicing for however many years, and here's my office, and isn't it comforting? And I work with these 9 things, and come see me, right? That's thin, vague content. That doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't work. So don't fall into that trap. You really need to have full, in-depth, impactful, thoughtful content on your website. And how do you get that, right? That's kind of what we specialize in. So this is a big thing to pay attention to in your decision making. And finally, the third thing is engagement. Okay, so let's say that someone gets to your website by some miracle, right? You paid attention to what you needed to pay attention to get high visibility. You have good enough content that gets them there. They start in. Are they going to stay? Okay, this is huge. You really need to think about this, and 90% of people don't. You want them to stay on your site. You want them to be able to read one thing and then see something related right next to it and go, oh, I want to read that. That goes deeper into the issue. You want them to look at different things. Ideally, you want them to opt into a mailing list, okay, an email list, so that they hear from you and they keep being reminded of you and they come back and read more. You want them to really be intrigued by you and want to hear what else you have to say. Okay, and this is not an easy thing. Okay, this is not an easy thing, but it's something that's extremely important to pay attention to. So these are the 3 things, right? Now, I'm going to get into more detail about what these mean. I realize the words may seem a little vague, theoretical, whatever. It's kind of like, you know, be attuned to your clients. What does that really mean, right? You probably know what that means, but it may sound a lot like, you know, visibility and engagement. What are those things? So we're going to get into them, and I'm actually going to show you an example of a site that does this really well. And so I think that you will understand in the end. But if you have questions about exactly what these things mean when we're done, please jot them down. The other thing I'll say is that if you have a question that comes up, go ahead and put it in the chat, because at the end, I'm going to go ahead and go through there and answer all the questions that come up. And it could be that you forget the question if you don't put it in now. If I've already answered it, I'll just say, hey, I think I've already answered that. But if I haven't, then I want to be able to get to it. So feel free to type in your questions as we go. All right, let's continue. So let's go ahead and get into some of these tantalizing options that are out there. Wix. Wix is a website platform that's out there. Now, look at what they're saying here. It all starts with a stunning website. Create yours. It's easy and free. Okay? Doesn't that sound good to most of you? Most of us, it sounds really good, right? Here you go. Weebly, that's another one. The easiest way to make a website. It's surprisingly easy to create your own website, blog, or online store. Try it free. Sounds good, huh? Therapy sites, right? Websites for therapists made simple. This is what everyone wants. Everyone wants that, right? I want that too if I could have it. But cheap and easy is rarely the solution for things that matter. We all know this, right? Don't we all know this? I mean, did you choose the school that you went to because it was cheap and easy? I hope not, right? I hope you thought that they had a good program and a good reputation and you were really going to learn how to be a great therapist, right? Do you choose trainings, ongoing CEU trainings? Do you choose those based on cheap and easy? Or do you actually choose those based on where you're struggling with in your practice right now and where you want to improve so that you can help people more effectively and in a less stressful way for yourself? I hope that you consider other things besides cheap and easy in making these decisions. And, you know, by the way, it's never good to choose your spouse or partner based on cheap and easy either, as you all know. Okay, so the hint is the big trap to avoid is thinking this way in the first place. Thinking this way in the first place, that I'm going to go find something cheap and easy and I'm going to get this website box checked in my life. Okay, that is the big trap. That's where it starts. So the fact is there's more than meets the eye, right? There usually is. Visibility, what we're talking about there is whether or not your site will be visible, meaning findable. meaning will people find it online when they go to Google and they type in something? Okay, and so this is really all about search engine optimization. It's about content. I mean, all these things kind of feed in together. You have to have good content to optimize. You can't optimize bad content, but you do need to have really good search engine optimization in order to be visible. Okay, and I'll show you that. You'll see what I'm talking about. Content on website. As I said, this is extremely important. So can you easily add new content to your site? This is one of those areas in life where size matters, okay? A big site is going to get a lot more traffic and better rankings than a small site. So you really want to have a solution where it's going to be easy to add new content to your site. And one of the things I'll be talking about here is that obviously the easiest way to add content to your website is blogging, okay? It's blogging. Now, if you don't have a built-in blog, you know, you're kind of messed up there. So that is something I'll be talking about. But in terms of content, can you also put it where it makes sense to put it? Do you have the flexibility with the platform that you're choosing or the solution provider that you're working with that you're going to be able to put the content where it makes sense? And will it be easily found on your site? When someone comes to your site, are they going to know exactly where to go? Engagement. Can you do what you need to do to get them to stay? Okay, to read more, to feel impacted by what you have on your site, to want to know more. That's what you really want. That's what engagement's all about. It's a lot more than some simple thing that they just read and then they do a bounce, okay? Meaning they look at one page and they leave. That's called a bounce in website vernacular. And that shows up in your Google Analytics tracking as a bounce, and Google says, well, site's maybe not so great. They came, they looked at one page and they left. Okay, what you really want to do is you want to have people stay and look at multiple pages on your website. All right, so a lot of people are going to choose the Wixes and the Weebly's and the therapy sites of the world, and there's other offers out there as well. I'm just not going to get into it. I don't want to go down that road, but there's a lot of people who are choosing cheap and easy, okay? And you know, usually you feel like, this is so great. I got this done. I got this site up. Look at how pretty it is. But it doesn't usually help you build your practice in the end. So then you end up starting over, okay? And so that's what I'm always trying to get people to avoid. Do it right the first time. So let's talk about who this is for, okay? You know, really, the honest truth is if you're in a very small town or you're in a really non-competitive niche and you're the only one who does that, and there's demand for it, of course, then you may be able to go with Wix, Weebly, or therapy sites and be just fine, okay? If you only need to work, you know, 4 hours a week, it may be just fine for you, okay? So these solutions are not, you know, they have their place. They definitely have their place. For people that don't really have to compete, okay? But if you are in a competitive market and you really want a full practice or at least a half-time practice, then those kinds of solutions probably are not going to work for you, okay? That's just all there is to it. So they do have their place, but if you really want to, you know, have something that you can rely on in a competitive market and in competitive niches where people are actually, there's a lot of search volume, then you're going to need to do something more. If you've already launched one of these sites and you're disappointed with the results, like you're not getting any clients from your website, then this will help you see what's happening. All right, so why listen to me, right? Who am I? Well, you and I actually have the same goals, okay? That's the interesting thing. We have the same goals. So I, as a business owner, I develop websites for a living. And you need to also develop a website for a living, okay? So we're really both faced with the same challenge, right? There is a huge number of hours that goes into any website that's built. If it's mine, if it's yours or whatever, there's going to be more hours that go into this than you could imagine. That's just the nature of it, okay? So I want my websites that I build to actually bring clients to the practices that I help. Okay, I want them to work. And I'm imagining you want your website to actually bring clients to you as well. Now, our motivation might be slightly different. I have clients in major cities in competitive niches. Okay, I just do. I have a lot of those. And I need to choose the website solution that gives me the best possible outcome. Now, why is that? Because if my clients are getting clients, right? If the therapists and psychologists and group practices that I work with, if they get clients, then they send me referrals, and that means more business for me. So I am very interested in this being successful, just as you are, but for a different reason. So just as my livelihood depends on doing it right, yours does too. Okay, so we're actually in the same boat. And so that's why you might want to listen, okay? The other thing I want to say is that I will be making an offer at the end of this webinar for those who need help, only for those who need help. If you don't want to hear that part, if you don't need any help and you're just here for the educational part, that's great. Just stay for that and then leave before the end. No problem whatsoever. If you want assistance, then stay. We actually have a waiting list already for our work. So we're not hurting for work. I do, however, feel very passionate about making sure that people know what they're doing and they're going down the right road. So I'm giving this webinar anyway, even though we already have a waiting list for our services. But again, if you don't want to hear that part, just leave before the end. Okay, visibility. Let's talk more about visibility and how to get it, because this is key. You need specific pages on your website that appeal to people with specific problems. I want you to think about Google and what their motivation is, okay? So Google wants to serve up the best search results. And if somebody were to type in anxiety treatment Denver, they want to put the best page up at the top that they possibly can. Okay, they want a site that's been up for a while, that's trusted. They want deep content. They want something that covers this topic of anxiety pretty thoroughly. And they're going to watch to see who clicks on what pages. And if they click on a page, do they actually end up staying on that website for longer than, a couple of seconds? If so, they say that's a good search experience. That's a good site. We should keep showing that one for Anxiety Treatment Denver. If there's another page that talks about anxiety counseling, therapy, treatment, whatever, and it's a paragraph, Google's first response is, this is probably not an authority page. It's only dedicating a paragraph to that topic. So in terms of deep content, it doesn't have it. They may give you a honeymoon phase where they let you be somewhere on page 1, let people click on it. But if people click on that and they read your little, 4-line paragraph and they leave, Google says, yeah, we thought so. Not a very good search experience. Let's not put that on page 1. Okay? So this is what drives us writing specific pages and guiding therapists to write specific long pages that go deeply into each one of these topics. You need real search engine optimization. Okay, you need real SEO on these pages as well. So the content is a big piece, but the SEO is another piece. Now, there are some people who say, we do SEO. Do they really? Or do they audit your SEO once a year? Do they do minimal half-assed SEO? Excuse me, pardon my French. You need to know a little bit to know what you're getting there, okay? And you need to have more and more pages on your site. That affects your visibility. And again, this goes into content. There's overlap here, right? But you need to have more and more pages on your site because, again, Google will say, this is an authority site. There's a lot of content on this site. These folks, whoever these folks are really cranking, right? They're putting a lot of good information out there. Let's rank this site highly. And, for instance, blog posts. Let's say I do have a page on anxiety, and I have a bunch of anxiety blog posts that talk about how to sleep when you're anxious, how to control your anxiety when you're, out in the world. Is it just stress or is it anxiety? Whatever. A whole bunch of blog posts that do that. Google says, wow, this site really is about that. There's quite a few pages on this site that have that topic in there somewhere. So this must be a solid site. If you have anxiety in one paragraph on your site, you aren't really covering the topic, and they can tell that right away. So you really do want to have more and more pages on your site. You want to increase the time, as I've already said, that visitors stay on your site, okay? And this is the engagement piece. This is why you want a lot of content. You want it easy for them to get to. This improves your engagement, which then improves your ability to rank, which then improves your visibility, okay? And again, I'm going to show you an example. So content, let's talk about the elements in content. The big thing is the platform that you're going with or the provider you're going with, are they going to give you guidance on content? You know, if you wanted to go with a certain platform and you have somebody else who's going to coach you on how to write content, then awesome, okay? Great. You don't have to go with somebody who's got the whole shebang together like we do. You can get some good coaching on content, but you need to have it, okay? You need guidance on content. Will they write good, unique content for you if you need help? There's a few people who will, okay? There's a few people who will actually write the content for you. We are one of those providers that writes content. We have a team of, I think, 11 writers now who write content, blog posts, and specialty pages for therapists. If you're looking at a provider, does their content rank, okay? And, you know, the big tip here is it needs to be long and it needs to be optimized. So when you see these little short pages, couple paragraphs, right there, big sign that something's way wrong with that website, okay? And you just go search and their site isn't going to show up anyway. Do potential clients respond to the content on that website? Is that therapist getting, you know, that therapist that you see who has used whatever solution, are they getting a bunch of clients or not? All right. And ultimately, can you have a built-in blog? As I said, that is the easiest way to add pages to your site. You've got to have a built-in blog. Don't even consider a solution that doesn't have it. Engagement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover engagement, the few things to know about it here, and then I'm going to show you a site and show you all these things in action, okay? Okay, what improves engagement, right? How to make this happen? Well, firstly, it's the organization of your content. So when somebody gets to your website, can they easily tell where things are on your website? Is it immediately visible? Okay. Do they know, like if they're looking for depression or something, can they see that if that's what you do? If that's one of the things that you treat, can they see that right away? And do they know, you know, how to get to that page? Once they get to that page, are they getting exactly what they need? Are you going deeply into the topic, right? Blog posts themselves, are they positioned correctly? Meaning, let's say that I am looking for some help with depression. I land on a depression page. Am I going to be able to see depression posts, blog posts right there? You really want that to happen, okay? All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into an example here, and I've actually not done this in a really long time where I have changed screens in a Google Hangout. So I'm really hoping that this is going to work out. You're going to see me maybe for a second here. Hi, guys. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Google. Well, first of all, I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to choose Incognito Search. Okay, so what that does is it lets Google know, well, it basically hides who I am and where I am so that they don't serve me up pages I've seen before. So I'm doing a fresh search. And anytime that you are looking for help in your, looking for where you rank, you want to do that yourself. Okay, you want to go incognito. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share the screen that I'm using to search. I hope this is the right one. Yes, okay, so I'm incognito here. And what I'm doing is I'm typing in couples counseling Carrie, but for some reason that part's not showing. Can you see that? I hope you guys can see that. Okay, yeah, at the very top there. Okay, good. So I'm typing in couples counseling Carrie. I'm going to press enter, and there's going to be results that come up here, right? So we're going to take a look at those results. Now, what we're going to see is that there's paid results at the top, and since we're not going to really be talking about paid results right now, I'm not going to pay attention to that. I'm going to go down past that. So we can look at at the Google local rankings here, and then we can also look down here. Now, one thing you're going to notice is that there's an overlap between the Google rankings and the organic rankings. So these are Google up here in this part, and these are organic down here. Notice the first listing is Carey Counseling Center, and that is actually this, careycounseling.com. Next one is Psychology Today, which, surprise, surprise. And then there's Ornstein Solutions, right? And they're the second one up here in Google Local. So Ornstein Solutions is the site I'm going to look at. But first of all, we're going to go ahead and look at the top ranking site. Okay, so I'm going to go there. And what I want you to notice is, well, first of all, you know, it's kind of an interesting site, right? It's kind of like sailor guy therapist. Would your clients be attracted to this? That's the question to ask yourself. Now, why are they ranking highly? They're ranking highly because their whole site is dedicated to couples and marriage. That's one of the reasons why. It's also been around forever, and they have a lot of pages on their site. So, you know, that's why they're ranking highly. But ranking, you know, the top doesn't always matter. Go ahead and take a look at who's outranking you and ask yourself, is this what my clients are looking for? The clients I like to work with, would this site appeal to them? And if so, then work your butt off to get above them. If not, don't worry about it. If you're next in line, then you should feel pretty good about that if you think that your site would appeal to them better, okay? So now I'm going to go back to the search results, and I'm not going to go to Psychology Today, but I'm going to go to Ornstein Solutions, okay? Okay, so here I am. I'm on Ornstein Solutions. Now, what I want to do is walk you through the things that matter here, okay? So, visibility. Obviously, she ranks, right? She ranks very highly. She's second in Google Maps, and she's third in organic, so she's ranking highly. Now, why is that? Well, you're going to see she has specific long pages, and that matters a lot. She has good SEO. She has a lot of pages on her site. You know, she happens to be a group practice, so her navigation is going to look a little different than a sole proprietor for sure. And if I come here and I go right here because I'm looking for couples counseling, then I'm gonna click on that, right? And I'm gonna head. Oh, I can't click there. Sorry, I have to click on this other screen. And I'm gonna go to a couples therapy marriage counseling page. Now, on this page, here's the long content, right? You may think, oh, this is kind of a lot of words. How could I write that much? Are people going to read it? Here's what people do. People scan, okay? So they are going to be saying, are you dissatisfied? Common problems, conflict, sexual intimacy, betrayal affair, can help you. Understanding intimacy, and then, you know, they're going to scan. Oh, look at that. This is my deal. I'm afraid my partner won't come in for couples counseling. They really know that. They must have a way to work with that. That's interesting. Oh, yeah, it's going to cost money, time, and a significant investment. Okay, they're talking about that. Good. Yeah, I am kind of afraid that everything's going to come out of the bag and it's all going to be out there and it's going to be, right? So this is what people do. They scan first. And they say, they kind of know some stuff. I think I'm going to actually read this. And then they'll go up and they'll start reading, okay? So this is a very common way of people digesting a web page. Do you feel lonely, anxious, yada, yada, yada? Yeah, that's me. Common problems, oh yeah, that's our problem. We always fight, or whatever. I don't feel anything. I feel numb to this person, right? Whatever it is, these people are going to read this. All these things you've heard, right, in your practice if you do couples work. And there are all sorts of things happening on this page, okay? At the very top, there's a whole bunch of more detail, right? Like, is the person coming to couples therapy and marriage counseling because there's been an affair? Are they having blended family issues? Are they having communication issues, sexual intimacy, blah, 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 right? Are they an LGBT couple and they're having trouble there? Whatever it is. And so there's all sorts of different things to engage me. on this page, okay? There's content here that is engaging. Now, let's say that my issue is that it's, I don't know, affair recovery, okay? There's been an affair. So I can go here, has your marriage been threatened by an affair? Blah, 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 and I'm gonna read that, right? Okay, I'm gonna read that. Maybe it's some other issue. I'm gonna engage further, but you know, chances are that I'm not gonna just read this one page and leave, okay? Because there's so many options for me that dig deeper into issues. Now, the other thing is, as I'm scrolling down here, she has her blog posts right here. So all of these blog posts have to do with couples, right? They have to do with couples issues. White lies, helpful or harmful, is your partner struggling with depression, it is affecting your relationship, right? From crisis to connection, etc. Valentine's Day post. And so this is how you get people to connect. This is how you get them to really engage and stay in your site and look at different pages and not simply just look at a paragraph and go, and leave. Okay, so this is all about that. Now, on the content part, the thing that matters is that it's long enough and it ranks. We already saw that. You know, she got guidance, right? One of the questions that I said is, or that I think you should think about with content is, are you going to get guidance on how to write it? And, you know, if you can't write it, do you have someone there who can help you write it? And so, you know, Susan wrote some and got help from us for some. She has a built-in blog. You always got to watch that, right? This is a WordPress site. She has a built-in blog. You really need to look at that. So now let's look at engagement. Okay, so when I first come to this site, is it, you know, is it organized in a way? If I go to the home page, is it organized in a way that I'm going to know where to go exactly? Now, if I'm a parent, I'm going to go right to kids or teens, right? If I'm an adult and I have some issue myself, I know exactly where to go. Chances are that I'm going to land on a page anyway that has something to do with what I'm searching for. So if I were searching on depression treatment, most likely I'm going to land on this page anyway that talks about adult depression. Okay, so you need to watch to make sure that your site is really organized and people know immediately where to go, how to get to what they want to get to. When I get there, when I get to this page, for instance, this adult depression page, is there a lot of stuff here that's going to help me, right? You know, she's normalizing my experience here. She's calling out the problem. She's normalizing my experience. She's giving me hope that therapy can help. She's talking about my objections, right? The things that I'm worried about. She's calling them out. You know, I'm afraid I'll have to go on meds. I don't want to go on meds. Well, that's a very common objection that people have. A lot of people stay away from therapy because they don't want to even deal with that question. So she's calling out these things that are really common objections or fears that people have. And she's, you know, she's really giving me in-depth content that meets where I am. Okay. So this is just an example of one site. There's a gazillions of sites that we have that basically take this approach. And this is the kind of thing that you want to really look at. All right. Okay, so I am going to go back to the presentation again. Hello. Hello again. Okay, let me go here and let me show you this. Okay, so how do I do the share again? Good thing is I'm not losing you, which is awesome. Okay, so let's look at these different solutions and how they measure up. So if we look at visibility, what I want you to do is I want you to say, does this platform or solution provider or whoever I'm looking at, do they have the best SEO possible? Visibility is not easy to come by. You can't take it lightly. You really need to go for it. Now, Wix has some issues. They have some URL structuring issues, and so they do not have the best SEO possible. Are they going to be okay for somebody in a small town that doesn't need the best possible? Probably so, okay? Weebly's okay. They're okay. Therapy Sites is okay in terms of SEO if you only want main pages and you don't care about a blog. So anyway, that's the deal there. If, you know, with counseling wise, we use WordPress or Squarespace. Either one of those will give you the best SEO possible. Can you add more pages easily? With Wix, yes. Weebly, yes. Therapy sites, no. They have no blog. WordPress, Squarespace, yes. Let's assess the content piece, okay? Will you get guidance from this provider? No, for everybody but us, okay? And for most folks. There are a few independents out there that give you some guidance on content, but for most major providers, there's no guidance whatsoever. One thing you should look at is, does their content rank? Okay, so if you're looking at a certain provider, you know, the content may rank if somebody else is writing it or giving guidance, or the practitioner themselves really knows what they're doing. The content will rank and convert. But you really want to find out, you know, ask whoever you're talking to, can I see 5 sites that you've done? And then go look at those sites and go do searches. And, you know, if they did a website for somebody in Fort Lauderdale, go search for all the things they treat in Fort Lauderdale and see if they come up. Okay, this is really what you need to do. And built-in blog. Make sure that you don't go with therapy sites. You've got to have a built-in blog. All the other platforms have that. Okay, let's assess the engagement. So again, our specialty is immediately accessible. With Wix and Weebly and therapy sites, it's going to be quite limited by the theme. Okay, they have very strict given themes that are not flexible. You can't change them. And so depending on how many specialties you have, how many subspecialties you want, you're either going to be able to make things immediately accessible or not. Okay, so you're extremely limited by those things. With WordPress or Squarespace, either can be worked with to make those things quite accessible and immediately visible. Can the visitor get to the deep content? Again, you're going to be really limited by the theme. With those other platforms, with WordPress and Squarespace, you can. And our blog posts where they will be read. Now, let's just put it this way. Absolutely not with Wix or Weebly. No blog on therapy sites. And I'm saying yes with counseling-wise with WordPress and Squarespace. A lot of people do not pay attention to this. You'll find other WordPress providers and Squarespace providers out there. And it's not just the platform, but the provider has to know how to make the blog posts placed where they need to be placed, okay? So just pay attention to that. The capability is there in the platform, but someone needs to know that it's important and to actually do it. All right, so obviously the bigger underlying issue with all of this is not really knowing what works, okay? Is therapists choosing platforms with not knowing what works, what should be important, and not knowing how this happens is the big problem. And usually doing it on your own with no guidance is a big problem. It just is, because you don't know. Okay, you don't have an advanced degree in marketing and years of experience doing it. So there are, as I said, there's a lot of people who watch our stuff and they get it and they implement it on their own, or, you know, their brother-in-law helps them implement it, but they do it according to some actual, I don't know, guidance, you know, that makes sense. So either use the guidance on your own or get help using it, but do it. Not many therapists will do it, okay? So when you do it, you're going to get a lot more clients than the other people in your city, because people want cheap and easy. So if you're willing to go the extra mile and do the work, you're going to stand out. Okay, so this is where we get into the how we can help. Okay, so as I said, there's some people who follow our stuff and do it. And so here we go. The hard way is it's not impossible, right? So that's the deal, right? It's not impossible, but it is harder if it's just you. The easy way is using this program that we put together. And honestly, I put this together because I had been working with therapists putting up sites for 3 or 4 years, and they were leading and they didn't know what they were doing. And we were doing what everyone else does. Oh, that's what you want? Okay, we'll do it. Oh, that's what you want butterflies and rainbows? Okay. Let's do that. And then, oh yeah, your content. Yeah, give me all your content, right? And they didn't work because you're asking someone who doesn't understand what works online to lead the way, and then you're following. And that's what most web people do still. So we decided to actually have a lot of education built in, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. So how does it work? You join the program. We assign a project manager to your project. We have a kickoff meeting with you. It's usually via phone because we're national and international, but there's local people who come into our office to do those meetings. We help you choose your site design, your design platform. We implement your site layout, and then we coach you on content or actually write the content for you. We implement everything you want on your site. Again, both of these platforms are very flexible in that, obviously you can have audio and video and, appointment scheduling, HIPAA compliant even, payment system, social media integration, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I'm not going to get into the big differences between Squarespace and WordPress here, but let me just say that if you were really going to go national and have a big membership site and stuff like that, we would suggest in the beginning that you choose WordPress because it's going to be able to scale as your business grows if you're doing those kinds of things. For most people, a Squarespace site is plenty, okay? It has a lot of capability. We actually do SEO for your site. We don't just talk about it. We don't just audit it. We actually do it, okay? We prepare for launch, and then we take you live. So that's the process. Some people will need some strategy work with us in the beginning. If their specialties aren't totally clear in the beginning, they'll need that. And so we provide that as well. We have a members area with a ton of videos in there that cover the entire process, and they pretty much walk you through the whole thing. Okay, it's time for your kickoff meeting. Here's what we do in the kickoff meeting. Please fill out this form and have this, ready. These are the decisions you'll have to make. We prepare you for each step before you get there. You have access to this members area for life. And there's new information that is added. We're doing a big overhaul of it right now with some new things and making finer points on some of the other videos. We are forward looking. So we're always changing things and testing things. And a lot of you who have been clients before know that I constantly am sending you emails. Hey, this new thing, can I test it on your site? So we're always doing that. This is a picture of the members area, just a little start. There's a ton of stuff in there. So again, it's you got the members area, you got a project manager, you got a developer, you got me, you got a whole team here helping you do it. We have specific processes that we follow. Obviously, we take your design aesthetics and all that's into account. We aren't going to dictate what you do, but we give you a lot of guidance based on what works. If you want to fast track, you can do that in 2 months. We have had people do that. Most people take longer. I'll just let you know. If you want to go slower, that's totally fine. You have a low project rate locked in for a year if you do a website with us. So you have a year to finish it. You pay hourly only for the time you use, okay? So how much is this worth? Well, you can easily pay for it with 1 6-month client. So it's kind of a no-brainer. The team is there to support you, but these are not cheap, okay? And so that is one of the other things. We're not cheap, and it's not easy. It's a lot of work. And we think that's what's required to actually make it work. And we put in the work and we get paid for the work. So it isn't cheap. It's $65 an hour. That is our rate within the program. Our normal a la carte rate is $75 an hour. So you get a $10 an hour break within the program. We do want you to finish the site in a year. However, we're not going to extend that forever. How much does it cost? Well, oops, that's a repeat. 90% of our sites are in the $1,200 to $3,500 range. Squarespace tends to be on the lower end of that. WordPress tends to be on the higher end of that. Not always. You could do a WordPress site and have it on the lower end if you're very, very decisive. You control the cost depending on how many customizations you request, how much extra functionality you want, how much content assistance you need, right? Maybe you do it yourself with our guidance, with our blueprint, or you decide, I want you guys to do it. You guys interview me and write the content. The cost of the theme itself, the photos and the domain name, they are your responsibility, okay? So anything that's a direct expense is something that you pay for, but that's included in these price ranges I've given you. So if you're interested in this, you can go to counselingwise.com/smart and you can place your order. I will tell you that we do have a wait. We have a 2-week wait at this point in time that I'm, talking about it here today. That may go away eventually. We don't know, but we are pretty busy. So just know that there is a 2-week wait once you start. We're only going to take 10 people with this webinar. So if you decided to go there, the initial payment is $650. It reserves one of these 10 slots. You get access to the members area, and then after that $650, we bill your remaining hours monthly. You get a monthly invoice as we're working on your site. Okay, so that is that. If you go ahead and grab a spot and then you change your mind, complete refund, no questions asked. Okay, if you even start and then something happens, we've had a couple of people that are like, they start and then their mother is sick and they need to go take care of their mom or something like that or whatever. We refund any hours not used. So there's not a risk. We're not interested in keeping your money that you're not actually utilizing in the program. So I really wished I'd had this when I had, it took me a long time to learn what really mattered online to make a difference. And then once I learned it, which was awesome to learn it, I had to implement it all myself. And that was a headache, right? It just was, even with my technical background, that was a headache. So this is something that I wanted to put together to make it a lot easier for people to actually do it right with support. Strongly urge you to join. Love to work with you. We're really good at what we do. We aren't the cheap and easy option. We're the harder, more sophisticated option, but we do a good job at what we do. And I do want to, be upfront and let you know there's a current wait, okay, of 2 weeks. Okay, so I'm going to open it up for questions. Feel free to type any that you have that you hadn't typed in before, and I'm going to look through here and see what questions have been entered and get to them here. Let's see, I think this is, oh, I missed how you go incognito, Sabrina. Yeah, with Chrome, you just click on the little 3 lines to the right. But you can also search, Sabrina, on Incognito Search, like with Safari or with Firefox or whatever. And there's all sorts of resources out there to tell you how to go incognito in your search. For somebody, the presentation is blurry. Huh. Okay, not for everybody. Let's see. Is anyone seriously looking at Wix or Weebly with their name all over your site? I don't know what that, with their name all over your site. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, with Wix and Weebly's name all over your site? Yes, David, there are. You won't believe how many people I run into who have Wix and Weebly sites. It's very interesting. Cynthia, can you work with the website that we already have and modify that, or do you start from scratch? Oh, we can totally work with what you have. Again, we work with WordPress and Squarespace mainly. But even if you have, like, let's say that you have an HTML site or something really old and you just want something real simple done with it, we can work with that. But Cynthia, if you have a WordPress site or a Squarespace site, we can help you with major overhauls with your current site. No problem with that. Erica, do you ever review current websites? We certainly do. So Erica, what would be of interest to you most likely is our marketing analysis. And if you go to counselingwise.com, there's a navigation tab called What We Do. And I believe at the very top, there's a therapy marketing analysis. And we could go through your site and tell you everything that's strong, everything that's weak, what we recommend you do, in the order we recommend you do it. Okay, so that is a really popular offering that we have. A lot of people have taken advantage of that. Mike, do you have thoughts on embedded YouTube videos? I thought about trying to film an intro video and have that on my site someday. Yeah, that's really effective. It keeps people on the site longer, Mike, if you have a video, because they typically will, click on that and watch it. Embedded YouTube is fine. There's ways to actually have it not go to other therapists when the video is done playing. So that's a certain setting in YouTube that you can do. And you don't want it to be too long. That's the big advice I'd give you. 2 to 3 minutes is what you want there. Sabrina, I'm on the Counseling Wise site. There's a promo code availability. No, there's that's in all of our sales forms because sometimes we do that. We aren't running a promo right now. I'm interested and really want to have y'all look at my current website and maybe have a consult of it if it has to be totally gutted. No problem. Sabrina, what I would suggest is that you just make an appointment to talk to a free half-hour consult, and Erin will help you with that. She'll talk with you about your site, and if we need to do a formal analysis, we can. If we need to just look at it and give you a good sense, we can do that as well. Kamal, hi Becky, can you briefly explain the main differences between Squarespace and WordPress? Yeah, I will, Kamal. So let me just start with this. WordPress is it's the biggest shared common code platform that's been out there. There's more WordPress websites than any other type on the planet, okay? And there's tons of developers, so there in order are tons of themes, designs, plugins, functionality, all sorts of stuff. There's something like 4,000 themes, okay? With Squarespace, there's fewer themes, but it's more of a contained environment. So WordPress is kind of like the Wild West. There's all sorts of people contributing to it. You kind of have to know what you're doing or have someone else with you to navigate it and put all the pieces together. There's not really great support in any one place unless you have a provider like us who's really knowledgeable and kind of is your partner in the process. But there's so much flexibility. You can do anything you want with it, okay? There's so much capability. So the pros are that there's flexibility. The cons are that there's so much flexibility that you can get lost. Now with Squarespace, they have a certain number of templates. I would say they have very, very good designers. So their innate default design aesthetics are pretty sweet. And just go to the Squarespace site and look. But the neat thing about Squarespace from our viewpoint, as opposed to Wix, Weebly, therapy sites, all these different places, is not only are their aesthetics really nice when you start, but there is the ability for someone who knows what they're doing to make it more flexible and put blogs where you need them to be read, do drop-down navigation, all sorts of different things. So it's a nice solution, and I actually think that for most therapists, sole proprietors for sure, it is probably the best overall solution. Okay, I hope that helps, Kamal. If not, ask anything specific, and I'll try to answer your questions. Cynthia, how do I know if I have WordPress or Squarespace? I had someone do my site. Well, just it's kind of technical to know. Send us a note, and we'll look. Send us an email, go to our contact form on our website, send us an email and say, hey, here's my URL. Is it WordPress or Squarespace, or what is it built in? And we'll tell you, okay? Oh, there you go. There you go, Megan giving Erica a link. That's good. Megan answering Sabrina. That's great. Sabrina got to run, client at the door. Can you have Erin? Yeah, we can have Erin contact you. Kamal, great. That answered your question. Good deal. Okay, I'm going to give you all one more minute to get questions in. I know there's a delay, and I just want to make sure that any that you have are answered. So feel free to type in anything you didn't type in yet, and I'll answer for you. And let's do it. We got a couple minutes left here before I'm going to close it down. And I'm not seeing any questions come in. No new questions. So, okay, I guess I'm going to call it a wrap then. So I want to thank you all for coming and listening, and I really hope you got the core concepts here. It's not about really who does it. It's about getting it done right, whatever that takes. And so that's what I encourage you to do. And if you have any questions at all that you think of later, drop us a line and we will get back to you. Okay? Thanks, everyone. Talk to you next month on next month's webinar. Bye-bye.